Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode. Sorry if I sound quiet, I'm recording in a weird spot, and although I am technically alone, I'm still hyper paranoid about people hearing me, especially with this game, so I'm just going to turn myself up in editing and hope that you can still hear me. Anyway, so recap on last time, there was an investigated some guy called Damien. The only reason I remember that is because I looked at the Steam achievements I got to show me where I was. Okay, that's right. I get to choose who to visit. So kind of been putting off Lorem. Anna, I don't really like. She's weird because I can't do Laura voices. Bryce, we've done a lot of time with, but it's all been like detective stuff. At the same time, I would like to do more detective stuff. I went to the bar Lorem has suggested as our meeting place. When I looked around, I saw Bryce sitting at a table, talking to someone I couldn't see. I lingered on him for a second, but I soon spotted Lorem in the corner of my eye. There you are. Hey, Lorem. It's good to see you. I thought you might not show up. Well, I'm here now. Yeah, I can certainly see that. I'm kind of surprised you wanted to meet me here. Don't take this the wrong way, but are you even old enough to drink? What are you talking about? Oh, I see. I can assure you, I'm a fully grown adult. My species doesn't get much bigger than this. Speaking of which, are you fully grown yet? How big do humans usually get, and how do you stack up comparatively speaking? I'm sorry, if you can't understand, I just imagine he talks fast. Oh, would you mind if I took some notes? Before we get into that, you haven't even told me yet what exactly all this is for. Are you sure you're not a reporter? If I was, Sebastian would let me meet you in the first place. And I thought the uniform was just a clever disguise. It's real though. Sebastian knows I work for the local post office. Excuse me, but this still doesn't really tell me anything about why I'm here. You're a postman who wants to interview me for what exactly? Sorry, I guess I got ahead of myself there. Maybe a full introduction is in order, and after that you can still decide whether you want to go through with this or not. Sure, go ahead. I do already regret coming here, but that is an inside dialogue, not an outside dialogue. So sure, go ahead. I recently graduated college with a degree in computing and moved here with a good friend of mine. This town doesn't exactly offer the best opportunities to put my degree to good use though. Then why move here in the first place? Living in the city can be very expensive. I can always move later when I get a job there. I've got other plans right now though. I'm working on a video game. That is what this is all about? A video game? Oh, you said this was going to be something serious. Yeah, it sounds interesting, I would say. Exactly. Video games and computers are just starting to catch on in places like this town. Making good content will be very important to give a good first impression. I can agree with that. And humans have always been part of our media. Books, movies, and now games. With you on our side, this could be an amazing opportunity. Well... Oh, maybe this wasn't such a good idea after all. Why? You're right about that. I can't help but feel a little deceived by this. Well, why would he be deceived? He just told me the truth. So why? I don't know. You don't seem so thrilled about doing this anymore. I was never thrilled in the first place. Besides, your job's gonna be really stressful, and you're probably already in the spotlight all the time. And now to top it off, you got some postman harassing you for an interview. If you wanted to leave, I'd get that. I will humor him because I can't not leave because that'd be rude and everyone would hate me. So stay. Well, I'm already here and nothing else to do, so let's make the most of this. Yes, thank you. At least I won't have to be so careful now. With the reporter, I had to worry about things like being misinterpreted or being taken out of context. You should still be careful. What you tell me now will influence how your entire species will be represented in my game. Don't worry though, I'll treat this delicate matter with the required finesse. Okay. How should we do this? Let me think. Why do you want me to make this game in the first place? I've always wanted to make a video game. I've had this idea for a while, and it seems like now is the right time to do it. Someone's if you right at the perfect moment. I don't know. Don't you still think my fiction will overshadow your efforts? People may not be so interested in playing a game about humans anymore if this is a real one show up. Good point, but the vast majority won't get to meet you personally anyway. If I say I did and modeled the humans in the game after you, people will flock to get a similar experience. Is being going to be your mascot. It's not part of your viral marketing campaign. As long as it's based on truth, you have my support. Honestly, though, it doesn't matter if it's based on truth, just as long as he's not like trying to say it. Well, I guess he is trying to say it's truth. So yeah. Awesome. Okay, but why focus on humans? What makes us so important? If there's one thing that people here love, it's humans. It doesn't matter if they just see them in the media or believe them as mythical creatures. For me, humans were always real. I just didn't know whether I'd ever get a chance to meet one myself. I guess I can cross that one off the bucket list. Now that we're here, I can tell you no expense will be spared to make our portrayal of humans as accurate as possible. There's some messed up. How is that messed up? I certainly seem passionate enough about this. For good reason. I just love humans. That's weird. If you say it like that, it actually ends up sounding pretty weird. Yeah. Besides, what if I turn out to be a horrible person? What would you think about humans then? It wouldn't change anything because I wouldn't base my opinion on an entire species on interactions with a single individual. Isn't that what you're doing now, though? Then what is your current opinion of us based on? Just the myths we have in the previous portrayals of humans in our media. But I suppose that's why I'm here talking with you right now. I want the truth and all of it. Telling you all of it might not be such a good idea. Oh yeah, I guess that'll be making a lot more time than we have today. Anyway, what's the actual game about? What do you do? It's a community simulation game. It all starts with the player of a character moving into a procedurally generated community, which is all inhabited by kinds of mythical creatures, humans included. Mythical creatures like humans. Not only the towns you move into unique, but the inhabitants are too. There are a variety of traits that get randomized, both in looks and personality. There are many things you can do, but this is very open-ended. You can live your life there however you want to. Sounds interesting, but it's not my type of game, but far from boring, so it sounds interesting. It is. At least I hope others feel the same way about it. What other mythical creatures are there besides humans? I haven't worked that out yet, but humans alone give us a lot of material to work with. How so? The question of the mythical human can be tackled in a variety of ways. There are many different interpretations of what humans are like. For example, in general, the mythical human can be divided into three categories. Firstly, the human is a physical creature. Secondly, the human is a non-physical entity. And thirdly, the human is a spiritual being. Let's start with the physical aspects. Sure, since some of our myths tell us that humans who created us eventually turned into a dragon, there's a lot of room for interpretation as to how similar humans actually are to dragons. I see you don't have wings, but most of us are able to create fire in some way, or at least have a breath weapon. How about you? Wait, do they actually? I haven't seen that yet, that's cool. Don't have a breath weapon unless you count my morning breath. Can rub 2 sticks together to make a fire, does that count? Of course, I can always move things with my mind. No, can rub 2 sticks together to make fire. Not really. Having hands that are dexterous enough to do this is remarkable, though. It is a bit strange, though, because our myths also say that you gave us the ability to us. Weird. Or interesting. Maybe it's meant to be taken literally, meaning that when the ability was given to us, you lost it. Or maybe we never had it in the first place. Humans are known to have created a lot of things out of nothing. Are we, though? After all, we only need to discover how to create and use fire, because we didn't have a natural ability to do so. Yeah, but you can't create something out of nothing, either. You have a proverb that sums this up pretty well. What is it? Necessity is the mother of invention. So a lack of natural abilities drove innovation forward. What an interesting thought. Here's another thing. You may have many different images of humans, but in the end, only one can be right. It's also possible that when you've been led to believe about humans doesn't actually refer to us at all. Are you implying that you aren't a human? I very much am. No, I'm just saying that if you really had been in contact with humans before, as your myths imply, they would need to belong to the same species as me, and thus be very similar to myself. If they aren't, then either they weren't humans at all, or have very different origins. That does actually bring up a good point. Like, no one ever actually said that it might not have been a human that did what they say they did. They just thought it was. So you say there is a possibility there are humans in your humans, but you something different altogether. I suppose you're right in the way that our images of humans are very inconsistent. They certainly can't all be humans in the way that we would refer to a single species. The name would probably be reserved for yours. And we haven't even touched the other two categories of humans. What'd you call them again? Non-physical human entities and spiritual humans. What's the difference? Honestly, the definitions get a bit muddled here. Going by conventional belief, a ghost could be a human who has died and thus changed to a different form. We could call this a spiritual human. An angel, on the other hand, would be classified as a non-physical entity. What do you know about angels? Angels basically look like humans with wings. Their existence in ancient scripts was used to lend credence to theories about humans having become dragons. I don't know how that word is. Because of the wings? Exactly. But some of your dragon species don't have wings either. Yes, as I said, once you start delving into that kind of stuff, it all becomes very convoluted. When we met, you also told me something about four-headed human. Right, with that we go into the realm of creatures that just don't make much sense at all. Having 4 heads just seems unlikely for an evolutionary perspective. That might not really matter if we were talking about a non-physical entity or a spiritual being, though. So in the end, you have a lot of different ideas whose only connection to each other is that you use the word human to describe them in some way. And they share at least some basic characteristics. You fit those as well, by the way. Like what? Or what are they? I keep thinking it's going to say one thing and says the other. You certainly are not a reptile like us, but you don't look like a conventional mammal either. We are mammals, though. Yes, but you're so different from other mammals we know that, ultimately, you are quite unique. We don't know any other sentient mammals. You got a point there, I'll give you that. Strangely enough, we have plenty of human-like creatures in our mythologies as well. Oh, do tell. You already mentioned ghosts, but some other ones include dwarves, giant, fairies, and blemains. I don't know that one at the very end. I think I've heard most of these before. What is a blemains? Essentially, a blemius is a human without a head. Well, just say decapitated guy. A human without a head. How does that work? How do they eat? Instead of a head, they just have all their facial features on their chest. That's weird. I've seen those before, but like, I never knew what the name of them was. That's a rather weird mental image. There are also a lot of half creatures that share some characteristics with humans and other animals. Like a griffin, or merhuman, yeah. Sure. Lastly, there are creatures that are said to be able to shapeshift into human form. Like dragons. Strangely enough, some of our dragon myths say they could shapeshift into humans or that certain countries' royalty are descended from dragons. That would imply that they are genetically compatible with humans. We don't need to go that far. That sounds, yeah, we don't need to go that far. Sounds rather outlandish if you ask me. We certainly can't shapeshift like that. I suppose that's why they're just myths. Right. To be fair, we do have a lot of myths that seem quite out there, as well as compared to what you're like. Anyway, how come you know so much about myths? All part of being an ambassador. Not only did I learn about dragon myths in order to compare them to what you're like, but I also studied myths about creatures that are similar to humans, so I could find out how similar they were to yours. Also, like, fantasy writing is just cool. Well, you're doing an excellent job so far, and it's bound to help me with a lot of my game as well. You're going to put all of that into the game? Let's just say it gives some excellent material to work with. I thought you wanted to give an accurate portrayal of humans, not just collect myths. One species will certainly be modeled after you, but that doesn't mean we can't introduce some variety with the others. People will love it if we also bring some of the more unusual myths to life. I see. But since we also want these normal human characters to be unique, I'd like to see how much variety there is within your species. I've seen Reza before, so comparing him to you there already gives me a bit an idea, but how far do these differences go exactly? When we arrived here, you asked me if I was old enough to drink. That leads me to believe that your average human must be a lot taller. That's true. You could say Reza would be about the average for an adult. Not that it would be impossible to get a good deal bigger than him or even smaller than you, but those cases are rather rare and usually the result of medical conditions. I see. What about colors? Are there any humans who are blue like me? Not really. There is a spectrum of skin colors that can be lighter or darker, but so far I've seen a lot more variety in the dragons here. We do have quite a number of different eye colors though. Interesting. As for things that aren't immediately visible, we also have different blood types, but I'm assuming you know about that. We certainly have those as well. Some people even believe your blood type influences your personality. I have never heard that before. That, on the other hand, is news to me. Yeah, same. Anything else you want to know? Phew, we already got so much. I had to think about how we can work all this into the game. Have you worked on any other games before? Well, you see, just because I gave you the information doesn't mean you have to use it. It's just like a tool that you can use if you so choose to. Trying to shoehorn unnecessary information is really bad and can end up like some terrible world building because there's more world than story taking place, and it can be really awkward in writing and gaming in general. I've worked on a few small projects during the course of my studies and also interned at a studio before. This is on a completely different level though. How so? It's my game, so I'm the one calling the shots here. It's a very different thing than just making a few graphics when you're part of a bigger team, for sure. I see. How long exactly have you been working on this? Phew, must be several months now. I got everything planned out and a lot of the groundwork has already been done. The most difficult things are the characters themselves, and to make sure all the details are accurate. Of course. Have you shown the game to other people yet? Sure, feedback is a very important part of the development process, so I regularly gather ideas and opinions from others. I even made a website to do this. And what do they say? All kinds of things, really. Sometimes it's hard to decide which ones have a good point and which ones can be discarded. Overall, it seems there are many people who are looking forward to playing my game, though. How many are we talking about? I don't know exactly. The counter on my website only tracks the number of visits, so I don't actually know how many different people there are. What if it doesn't work out? What do you mean? Well, you're investing a certain amount of time and money in making this. Ideally, you would want to make back your investment and hopefully get some profit on top of that. If the goal is to make money, sure. However, I just want to try my hand at doing something like this. Some people are going about to enjoy the end result. That's great. That's kind of how I feel about YouTube, though, too. So, I can understand that. Don't forget that I also had to make something that I can put on my resume. At the very least, it'll have been a good learning experience, and that is something I don't agree with because I will hide this from any possible employer as possible. With that attitude, I suppose you really don't have anything to lose. I can always look for another job, and maybe I'll end up working at a game studio, but I think once I've started doing something like that, I might not get this opportunity again. So it's now or never, huh? In a nutshell, yes. I don't know. I've known people who work at game studios and do their own side. I mean, not like known personally, but like seen like indie games. Like, oh yeah, I used to work for this place, and then I made this game on the side. And then, oh yeah, now I just don't work there anymore because it made so much money or something. I don't know. I can't think of anyone specifically. And it all works out with your courier job? Sure, I can support myself in this way. I'm not really under any pressure, since I don't have any deadlines to keep. I would hope you have deadlines. Yeah, deadlines are a good way to ensure something gets done. You're right about that. It's something where a balance is important, I think. I set deadlines for myself, but I don't have to worry about the project breaking down if I don't meet certain milestones at a certain time. What kind of tools are you using to make it? If I consider what some of your species look like, I'm having a hard time imagining how the bigger ones could program a game. While I do have devices tailored to each individual species, I can't deny that my dexterous hands make it a lot easier compared to some of the others. One downside is I had to keep my nails short, or else using the keyboard gets a bit cumbersome. I imagine you had to be careful with those while you're working as a courier anyway. You're right about that. One wrong move and you're suddenly straight at the letter you were just about to hand to someone. That sounds unpleasant. Luckily, that kind of thing doesn't really happen to me anymore. Not only because of the shorter nails, but once you've worked there for a while, you just learn to be more careful. It's a bit sad not to have them as natural letter opener anymore, though. It's not just for me. Some people ask me to open their letters for them, since doing it on their own can be a bit difficult for some with less dexterous and older ones. I've been working as a courier for long. I just got this job a few months ago, but I had a part-time summer job at the post office when I was growing up. My species is perfectly suited for the job, so they were glad to have me on board. I can see why. Of course, being able to fly is a big plus. Besides meaning I can't deliver any big packages, but I often get assigned to urgent letters that have to be delivered as soon as possible. Huh, it's getting late. Maybe we should leave it at that for today. Yeah, I should probably head back to my apartment before it gets too dark. I got more than enough material to work with. Thanks a lot. Don't worry about it. I just consider it a public service. Honestly, I'm incredibly grateful to the opportunity, especially after nearly getting denied by Sebastian when I met you. Just make the best of it. I certainly will. I really had to get going now, so maybe I'll see you some other time. Sure, have a good night. Take care. Oh, new chapter? Chapter 3. Ah. The morning sun declared the arrival of a new day and woke me from my vivid dreams. Memories of my home, enclosed within the towering perimeter wall raced through my head. Towering perimeter wall. The peaceful landscape outside the apartment window stood in defiance of these old thoughts. Rolling hills and blue sky are familiar to me now, and the purity of the sight gave me hope. Be awesome. Please come with me. What's going on? You sound serious. The chief will explain everything once we arrive. Okay. Oh, back at the lab. Hey chief, Be Awesome is here. Thanks, Sebastian. You can deal with the situation here while I talk to Be Awesome, alright? Of course. Be Awesome, I got some really bad news. Well, what is it? You know Anna, right? I've met her, yeah. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say this. Those few words were enough. Dread sank in, and I already knew. Don't. I ignored his words and walked past him. Already? Wasn't she like one of the main... When I turned the corner, there was no mistaking her. Anna was haphazardly covered by a sheet, leaving her tail and blood-stained hand exposed. In the end, she didn't even deserve full discretion. Are you okay? I'm fine. I guess I really didn't know her all that well. Just met her like twice. Yeah, I'm fine. Let's just get this over with. Bryce nodded. And there's more bad news. The blood we found on the first victim in town matches the DNA evidence found on the second victim at the power facility. Furthermore, the murder weapon and method appear the same across all three victims. That's going to be a big problem for you. Why is that? Because with these 3 murders, Resin now qualifies as a serial killer. We won't be able to keep this whole thing quiet for much longer. Higher authorities, including the ministry in charge of their whole visit, will know about this soon. I have no idea what will happen to you once they do. I'm not sure what to say about that. I don't want to worry you, but we can be sure that action will be taken soon. I've been considering this possibility for a while, and I think it might be best if you went back to your own world for now. This way, we can take action before the Ministry does, and before this all becomes public. If we wait, we won't know what they'll do or how the public will react. With everything going on, it's too dangerous for you to stay here. No. No. This would be the worst possible time for me to leave. We've given up our PDAs and hardly have anything to show for it, and we are owed several more generators, and let's not forget Reza is still missing. If I leave now, the only thing I return home with is my life, and I'll have lost everything else. We need those generators, Bryce. I have no idea how your authorities will continue to uphold our deal or what they do to Reza, but I'm not leaving until this is over. If that's your decision, and so be it. Anyway, let's get back on track. I called you here for a reason, be awesome. In addition to the murder, several things were stolen. Among them, your PDAs, batteries, and some components used to build generators. Does that ring any bells? Not really. Reza might have some knowledge of electronics, but I doubt he has enough to assemble one of your generators, even if he had the parts. Strange. Even so, it's fair to assume Reza's involvement at this point. No one else has a greater motive to steal the PDAs, especially after what happened between him and Maverick. Unless someone wanted to frame Reza in order to sabotage the whole operation. You really believe that? Hey, I'm just saying it's possible. I'll shelf the idea into possible but unlikely. Hey, Chief, are we done here? Pretty much. Why do you ask? We just got a message from the higher-ups. You and Be Awesome are to report to the Ministry of Culture and Arts immediately. Immediately? As in right now? Yeah, apparently. What's going on? To be frank, I don't know. This is an extraordinary situation, and now it's getting out of hand. They must want to address it. So the worst possibility, maybe not going to be a big deal, maybe they're going to throw a surprise. Yeah, so the worst possibility. If you expect the worst, at least you won't be disappointed. Sebastian, you can finish up here and go to the Ministry when you're done. Probably had to make some arrangements after this meeting. Sure thing, Chief. Let's go then, shall we? It's not like we have a choice. So if I would have visited with Anna, then would she have still... I don't know who that is. That was quicker than I expected. Wouldn't have minded a little waiting out here a little longer. I don't remember what voice I gave her before, so I'm just gonna improv. Greetings, Minister. Greetings. Should we go inside for our official business? No, I got everything I need right here. It gets so stuffy inside on hot days. My system doesn't seem to mind, but I prefer the fresh air. I'd rather stay the night here unless you have any objections. I don't. I see. Well, I know I haven't exactly been up to date in regards to Reza's sudden disappearance, but I get the message today that he was confirmed serial killer was quite shocking. Frankly, I'm curious as to why the facts of this case hadn't been withheld from me for so long. Simply because they weren't within your jurisdiction. The murders were strictly a police matter. Only with the amount of new evidence, namely DNA and blood we found on 3 murders now being linked together to him and your ministry had to become involved. I see. So Reza's involvement is now undeniable. I'm afraid so, Minister. We still haven't found any proof that it's him. I mean, I'm not defending the guy, but like, we don't know it's him. Facts are nothing to be afraid of. Though in light of all this, I'm starting to worry about my personal safety. With Arctic highs, I don't think our species has much to fear as we consider the murder weapon. Speak for yourself. I don't think someone having my standing needs protection. Oh, for sure. You're worried about your personal safety, we can look into an escort for you. Good. Considering all the murders took place during the night, I'll certainly need it. Long days are endemic in my line of work. But that's enough about myself. We now face the question of what should be done about Reza and Be Awesome. Minister, we continue our hunt for Reza every day. As a matter of fact, Be Awesome has been helping do so for a while now. It's really hard to switch between her voice and Bryce's for some reason. I don't know why. Is that so? One human a murder, another detective. Interesting. And how do we know Be Awesome isn't following a similar plan to Reza's, whatever that may be? Because I have been with someone, I have an alibi, I have not been alone at any point of time. Similar concerns were leveled by Reza's escort Maverick. It was his overreaction that caused Reza to run away in the first place. Let the human talk for once, Chief. Please, Be Awesome, enlighten me. You and Reza came here on the same mission and the situation has escalated beyond our expectations. What you tell me now will determine the actions I'll take on this matter. Maybe you should start by telling me your side of the events from the beginning. Reza was fine during his early days here. Things will went wrong after you arrived. I opened my mouth, but Bryce spoke first, determined to defend me. Arguably, the problems that caused all this were apparent even then. How so? Maverick suspected Reza was planning something, but I don't think he had a case. Well, did he? No, what he had was a suspicion. The night he followed Reza, he found both him and BAWSM at the portal. The humans intended to send one of their promised generators through, but there was a confrontation that ended with both Maverick and BAWSM wounded and Reza running away. Reza's been missing ever since. I've read the reports already, Chief. The question is, did Maverick cause this, or did he just fail to prevent it? I have no way of knowing that, Minister. You just mentioned your apparent knowledge of the problems back then. Problems may not have been the right word. Let's just say Maverick's attitude was not helpful during that encounter. Why did you choose Maverick as his escort in the first place? Protection for the human ambassador was my greatest concern when I made that decision, and Maverick was the most capable individual in that regard. And then I got Sebastian. I mean, no offense to Sebastian, but like, he obviously didn't care about my protection as much. Well, that worked out nicely, didn't it? You also seem to think that Maverick shouldn't have remained at Reza's escort. Is that true? Yes, had I paid more attention to the warning signs, the situation may have been avoided. So you accept responsibility for the incident? Yes, Minister. I see. Now, let's get back to the topic of BAWSM. Reza was your partner in humanity's mission to come to this world. His list of criminal activities not only includes murder, but also theft of generators, electronic components, and the PDAs your people gave to us. I understand why Bryce would be a reason that you could help the investigation, but we have no other choice but to be suspicious of Reza's partner. What was your motivation when you agreed to help us? Bryce wouldn't let me say no. It's my best bet finding the truth. It's beneficial to my actual mission. It's beneficial to my actual... It is my best bet at finding the truth. I thought Reza's involvement was undeniable at this point. That may be true, but we still don't have the whole picture. We don't know if others are involved or his reasons. I just want to know why. I see. Well, after reading up on the whole situation and hearing both your accounts, I believe that BAWSM is trustworthy. Nevertheless, I think BAWSM presents a great risk. Wait, I said one line to her, and then she's like, well, yeah, I trust you. Well, why is that? After this meeting, I will hold a press conference to inform the public of the current situation. The people must know the danger posed by Reza. No matter what Bryce and I think about your involvement, the public could feel differently. You, me, and Bryce will have to face the backlash resulting from this information becoming public. And what's more, BAWSM, you might be in real danger yourself. Reza himself may come to silence you once he learns that you're helping us, or consider the public uproar for those who would question your involvement. All things considered, it would be for the best if you return to your own world until the situation has been resolved. I came to the very same conclusion, Minister. Then, with your support, this is what shall be done. Please don't. You don't agree? If you send me back now, this diplomatic relationship is over. I had to admit defeat to humanity. There's no way I can return without your generators, our PDAs, or Reza. Maybe you could explain to them what a great choice for an ambassador Reza was. Okay, she's got a point there. But I was his partner, so in a way, he is my responsibility. I can't just go back like this. I'm afraid that's not enough. It certainly doesn't outweigh your reasons for sending you home. Just let me explain. I'll tell you everything. Years ago, our world was prosperous. Our technology was far more advanced than yours, even. Computers not only graced every household, but every single person. It was the age of information. Even children had the power to access the most advanced knowledge at their fingertips. With our PDAs, our interconnectedness with other people and our environment was greater than ever. From locomotion to repetitious work and household chores, many processes were automated to such a degree that, except for our jobs and hobbies, there was nothing that needed to be done by a person anymore. Even the concept of someone wielding a weapon was outdated, as wars were no longer fought by people, but machines. Wait, so this is taking place in the future then? Looking back, it was probably the single most prosperous time in human history. Exploitation of the environment and other people was at an all-time low, as was crime. Conversely, our technological advancements had drastically increased quality of life. Humans were no longer required for strenuous and repetitive tasks. Education had reached an all-time high, and many new jobs were created. General happiness reached levels never before seen. Yet, one day, everything changed. The sun? A solar flare that was headed for Earth was detected by an automated monitoring system. It was determined to be so powerful that it dwarfed all others ever recorded in history. We had less than a week to prepare. Chaos hit much earlier than that, as people scrambled to shield themselves and their possessions from the incoming ion storm. On a worldwide level, powered lines were switched off, satellites reoriented in space, and planes grounded to mitigate the effects that would hit us. Despite humanity's contingency plan for such an event and all our efforts, we were still not prepared for the sheer magnitude of the solar flare that arrived. It was only then, when our race had become so dependent on technology, that we were immeasurably vulnerable against this kind of disaster. That day, a force of the power of 10 billion, I can't say that, 10 billion big booms was unleashed in our atmosphere. The eyewitnesses' reports from this day were varied as they were terrifying. A huge, beautiful aurora could be seen on the horizon before fireballs hurled across the sky. In some places, these lights became so bright that even those asleep at night woke, as though the day had already arrived. A coronal mass ejection by itself did not have the power to kill anyone directly, but the side effects were disastrous. After the lights in the sky arrived, sparks showered from electrical outlets everywhere, igniting rampant fires in every town and city. Facilities that stored weapons, fireworks, or other explosives became centers of widespread destruction and loss of life. During the next stage, the solar flare started to affect every body modifications and caused commonplace pacemakers and nanomachines to fail. 15% of the world's population died as the result of this alone. Once the full power of the waves hit us, however, society as we knew it collapsed in one fell swoop. Power grids on Earth shut down in an instant, as did all the machines that automated our routine tasks. Long-distance communication and transport became a thing of the past. Without electrical power, the quality of healthcare plummeted, and water and sewage systems were crippled. Diseases we thought defeated centuries ago made their comeback in a most unsightly fashion. Many thought the end of the world had arrived, and in a way, it had. Some people blamed whoever their belief system would allow, angry at the gods that had forsaken them. Others pointed their fingers at our lifestyle and society, not that anyone was listening. Practically, we had to go back to the Middle Ages. Governments collapsed and were overthrown, and the ever-ensuing power vacuums filled with groups of people that were sometimes organized and sometimes not. The few functioning electronic devices left became rare, sought-after artifacts for which battles and even wars were fought. Of course, there were also wars over resources and territory. The weaponry used was improvised or reclaimed from the days when humans had been present on the battlefield. It had been ages, but people returned to the old, bloody ways of war. Humanity is in shambles now. Those that I call family and friends now live with me in the giant, mostly self-sufficient city-state of survivors. A huge wall around the perimeter, guarded by militia, prevents any outside interference. It's the only way we can retain a modicum of order. Gangs of raiders and looters run rampant on the outside. They wouldn't hesitate to kill first and ask questions later if they had known about my PDA. So those PDAs are actually kind of valuable, not just for the knowledge, but just like what's inside them. Our contained community has flourished for years now. We have homes to live in, crops to grow, and livestock to raise, and still have our own automated hospital that runs on salvage generators. Lately, though, supplies started to run low, and dangerously so. The power we have is still running out. Illnesses are spreading through the city, and treatment that isn't available as it used to be. Our population is dropping by the day. We took a great risk to increase the radius of our scouting missions, desperate to find something outside the wall that could help us. You already know the rest of the story. We found the portal and you. And now you know why this whole thing is so important to me. All our hopes lie in acquiring the generators you promised us. The act of sending Reza and me here was, without a doubt, already cost the lives of some people back home. Beyond the city walls is the dead zone. We haven't heard from any other settlements for months now. The state of the rest of the world is unknown. When Reza and I were sent here, my peers made it clear that this is our last chance. If anything happens to us, no more people will be sent. If we can't manage to bring back something that will help, we'll have sealed the fate of tens of thousands that live in our city. I'm sorry, Blossom, I didn't know. If what you were telling is true, it unfortunately does not work in your favor. As sad as your situation may be, it gives Reza a motive. Desperate times call for desperate measures after all. In that vein, it also gives you a motive. Considering the gravity of the human plight, it gives you a little more reason to collaborate with him. I'm not. What Reza's doing is wrong. You can't send me away under these circumstances, because I'm your best bet at finding him. Even so, you would still be in grave danger if we announced Reza's involvement in the murders. I cannot and will not take responsibility for the consequences when I know of the risks. What about our deal then? In the wake of this new information and as a sign of goodwill, we will send the generators you are owed through the portal once this is over, under 2 conditions. Humanity must condemn Reza's actions, and we must reclaim the stolen PDAs. I changed my mind. You should let AWSW stay here. I cannot take your word under consideration in this matter, Chief. Taking into account Maverick's actions and your responsibility for them, you will have to be dealt with separately. With my authority as minister in charge of the human visit, my decision is to have AWSW sent back to the human world through the portal. Please, immediately. Chief, please rearrange for an escort to take AWSW to the portal now. I can do it myself, Minister. Well, we have our own matters to discuss, Chief, and I would rather get that over with as quickly as possible. In that case, one of my officers should be here any moment. I arranged for them to meet us here. How handy. Then let us wait for this officer of yours. It didn't take long for Sebastian to arrive. After the situation was explained, he was visibly shocked, but didn't protest when he was given the task of sending me back through the portal. Let's go, AWSW. Don't even get to say goodbye? Let us not waste any more time. You will still be free to send letters after you have arrived on the other side. Just go, AWSW. Come on, then. We were silent as Sebastian and I slowly made our way back to the portal. With each step I took, I drew closer and closer to the hopelessness waiting for me in the ruins of the human world. All in all, I certainly had a unique experience alongside these dragons, and although this place was filled with just as much drama and murder as back home, I'd remember this world and all the people I had met. I would fondly think back to the days I spent in their comfortable standard of living, a shadow of how humanity used to be. Even without the generators, at the very least I'd be returning home with a few life lessons. What's going on here? Lost in thought, I haven't even noticed Adine approach. It's none of your concern. Please leave. Can you even get a few minutes before I go? I suppose nobody's stopping us, but make it quick. Hey, AWSW, what's going on here? Something serious happened. Looks like I had to leave. Right now? Why? It was the minister's decision, not mine. You'll hear about it soon enough. Does that have anything to do with what I've been hearing? Is Reza really a murderer? I'm afraid so. Oh. Well, what does that make you? I don't have anything to do with that. I was just helping the police find him. Then why are you leaving? They don't want me to stay here with all this going on. It's for my own safety. Well, it was nice to get to know you at least. Likewise. I guess I should get going. Goodbye, AWSW. Goodbye, Adine. I remember her. That was the waitress from Rez's first murder. Did you know her? Yeah. I see. You see what? A few minutes later, we arrived at the portal, standing proud as ever in defiance of the elements. How many years had the structure survived before it was found? I hope I can remember how this thing works. Are you joking? Yeah, sorry, I got it. Alright, I suppose it's time for us to say goodbye. Let's keep it professional. I don't like to mix personal matters with work. He looked away and I shrugged. Go ahead and turn it on then. Would you stand between the pillars, please? Of course. I took my place and stared towards the horizon while I thought about what would happen now, in this world and others. Even if I had made a break for it, I'd become a fugitive, no better than Reza. It would be near impossible to investigate the case by myself, while on the run in a world I knew so little about. At the very least, I took comfort in the fact that I did everything I could to help, even if it turned out like this. Nevertheless, I dreaded going back empty-handed and returning to my old life in our ruined city. Any second now, the teleportation process would start, disintegrating my body before I would reappear on the other side, back in my dying world. I wondered if there was any risk of getting lost somewhere between worlds. We didn't really know how the portals worked after all. Maybe it'd be flung somewhere else in space-time, or it might affect my body in some way. I hadn't noticed any unusual changes in my body since I arrived in the dragon's world, but I had no way of knowing if there were potential long-term side effects. I still remember the images I saw when I teleported the first time. The vivid sights and patterns, people and situations I had recognized since then. It only took a moment to arrive at the other side of the portal, yet it felt like I had dreamed 1,000 dreams. And during the nights I spent here, these dreams had often reappeared. Any time now, I would undergo the same experience again. I was almost relieved that my adventure was over. Things had turned out far differently than expected. I evaded danger, got swept into a murder investigation, and met incredible, intelligent beings from several different species. It's certainly been a time to remember. With that thought, I closed my eyes and braced myself for the moment that would come any second now. But that moment never came. The next thing that did happen was that I heard Sebastian's voice. It's not working. Are you joking again? No, really, it's not working. Wait, what is this? Oh, yeah, that would be a good reason that it's not working. It's broken. Can you fix it? I don't think so. This doesn't look like a simple act of vandalism. It looks like some parts were torn out. I guess that means I'm not leaving, huh? Not yet, at least. Well, what do we do now? Let's head back. Chief has to know about this right away. We were back at the ministry before long. Imra and Bryce were still outside, as Remy approached the two of them. You got the case files, Imra. Why, thank you. We also met an officer. What is this about, Imra? That's what I would like to know. Please, officer, enlighten me. Why has my order not been carried out? The portal is broken. Is it broken? Yeah, it looks like someone tampered with it and stole parts. I couldn't even get the interface to turn on. We'll check it out once I'm done here. I suppose Bios must stay with us for a little longer after all. Seeing how this is an emergency situation, I will make this short. Chief, as a result of your carelessness regarding Maverick and Reza, you are temporarily removed from any duties related to the humans. Oh, good. I thought he was about to get fired. It's still not good, but like, that would have felt a lot worse had he gotten fired. Given these dangerous times, you will instead serve as my personal escort until I further notice. Considering the circumstances, you will be allowed to coordinate with the investigation of the portal, but after that you are to immediately return to me to start your new task. Understood? Understood. Then all of you are dismissed. She turned to leave, Remy trailing after her. Alright, let's head to the portal. That includes you, it'd be awesome. Of course. Out of the corner of my eye, I spotted a sheet of paper on the ground. Hey, what's this? Imra probably dropped one of the case files. Either her or her assistant. Better bring that to her. Sebastian and I should hurry to the portal. Meet us there afterwards, okay? Sure. I picked up the sheet and started reading. It was about what had happened when I met Reza at the portal. Of course, it didn't say anything I didn't already know. As I walked up the stairs, I wondered if it was okay for an unauthorized person to enter the building. All I knew about the place was that Imra worked there. I did have an important document that was going to be missed, so I walked inside, only to be greeted by an empty lobby. Luckily, there were some signs directing me to Imra's office. It didn't take long to find it, and I heard voices when I approached the door. By the way, what happened to the scroll you brought me this morning? Last time I saw it, you did not have that tear. I dropped it. Tell me something new for once. Okay, someone else dropped it. Am I supposed to believe that? Remy, are you aware of how much this costs? Repairing and replacing artifacts is not cheap. I'm afraid we had to deduct this from your wage again. I see. You are not doing this on purpose, are you? Of course not. You have been working with me for a long time now. I expect you learn at least some point, but you are very resilient to do so, or resistant to do so. Not wanting to listen to this any longer, I decided to knock. There are a few seconds of silence. Please, come in. I only opened the door long enough to hand Remy the sheet of paper. I think you dropped this outside. After I closed the door, I started to walk away. I heard their voices resume. This is from one of the case files you requested. You must have dropped it. Oh. Then why was it? I'm sorry, that was a pretty good comeback. You didn't even notice. Then why was it left outside? As my assistant, you should have paid more attention. If this got into the wrong hands, someone could get in trouble. And that is a good place to stop. I made my way back to the portal and arrived shortly after Bryce and Sebastian. Maybe it's not the best place to stop, but once again, I'm trying not to make the episodes too long. So, yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.